If you look at the Haftorah, how it ties into current events, and then we'll see how the Parsha ties into current events. The Haftorah is from the book of Ezekiel 36. So the Parsha that we read is about the red cow, and Haftorah doesn't speak about the red cow, but also speaks about purification. So Avi, you have that. Hidavar Hashem Elai Lemor. The word of God came to me saying, Yecheskel 36, Ben Adam. What does Ben Adam mean? Be a man. Don't be afraid of B'Tselem. Don't be afraid of the lefties. Ben Adam. Incredible, Aram. Current events in the Haftorah. Bibi, fence minister of Israel. What are you pandering to the left for? What are you persecuting, crucifying this poor soldier? Ben Adam. Be a mensch. Stand up for what is right. And do the right thing. Now, skip down to Pasuk Kaf. 20. The Jewish people, they were exiled and they went among the Goyim that they came there. Vayichalu Hashem Kachi, they desecrated my holy name. Be'emolahem, when the Goyim say to them, Am Hashem Eileh, these are the people of God, and they left their land. The very fact that Yidden live in Chutz La'aretz, Yid is Yoel, it's a Chil Hashem. The Goyim say you have such a wonderful country. The jewel of the Middle East, the leader of high-tech, medicine, military, the most startup nation, more than any other on the Amex and New York Stock Exchange, right? We're the leader in every field. So the Goyim in verse 20 say, you have such a wonderful country, what are you doing living in Chutz La'aretz? That's a Chil Hashem. The very fact that Yidden live in Chutz La'aretz, Yiddish Yudah, verse 20, is a Chil Hashem. How do the English translate that, Yudah? Verse 20.
Came to the nations which they came, and they desecrated my holy name, when it said of them, these are Hashem's people, but they departed his land.
So when the Goyim say, these are Hashem's people, and what are you doing living in Chutz La'aretz? You're not living in the land of Israel. Or in America, right? The very fact that you didn't live outside of Israel, that's a terrible Chil Hashem. So Pasuk Chaf Aleph, verse 21. You have that, Yoel, verse 21. The Echmal Hashem Kachi. God said, I will have Rachmanis on my holy name. Asher Chilalu Beis Yisrael Bagoyim. That you, Yidden, have desecrated my holy name among the Goyim. How? Asher Bo'u Sham. The very fact that Jews live among Goyim, Yoel, it's frightening. The very fact that Jews live among Goyim, that constitutes Avi what? A tremendous Chil Hashem. Isn't that incredible? Speak about current events in the Haftorah. Again, verse 21. Va'echmoel Hashem Kachi, I will have Rachmanis on my holy name. Asher Chilalu Beis Yisrael Bagoyim, that the house of Israel has desecrated my holy name. Bagoyim Asher Bo'u Sham, and the very fact that they live among the nations, that's such a wonderful country as Israel, the envy of the whole world. That's why we're so hated, Yoel. We're the envy of the whole world. We're the leaders in every field, medicine, high-tech, low-tech, smartphones, dumb phones, military. We are the leaders in every field. That's why we're so hated. So what are we doing living in Chutz La'aretz? That's a Chil Hashem. Go ahead.
Did you hear the story that the FBI, they were having a big fight in the United States where the FBI should open up this Apple iPhone for these murderers from San Bernardino?
Right.
So they're going to file a lawsuit
to try to get inside the smartphone.
So they just hired an Israeli company.
An Israeli company.
$1,000 and open it up and saves them the whole.
You see that? An Israeli company, right? Open up the cell phone, the dumb phone, right?
And the company in Japan who owns that Israeli company.
Now, verse 22, Masha, you see that, Shelley? Verse 22? Verse 22, Lechein, therefore, Emor lebet Yisrael, say to the house of Israel, Kayomer Hashem Elokim, thus says the Lord God, Loi lemanchem ani oseh beis Yisrael, I'm not going to act and bring you back for your sake, Ki'im l'shem kachi, but for my holy name, Asher chilaltem bagoyim. Looks like Yecheskel's belaboring the point, Yehuda. Ki'im l'shem kachi, I'm concerned, says God, by my holy name, Asher chilaltem bagoyim, that you Jews have desecrated my holy name among the Goyim asher batem sham. The very fact that you come among the Goyim, that's what Mikiyachil Hashem. So God keeps repeating that theme over and over again. The very fact that we live among Goyim, asher batem sham, that's a desecration of God's name. But some people just don't get it, yes?
All the lands outside Israel, they all have tumah. They all have.
Nochon, Eretz Amim is mitameh. That's right. Kim l'shem kodshi asher chilaltem bagoyim asher batem sham. So God says, I'm not going to stand for it. You hear this, verse 23? V'kidashti ashmi hagodol, and I will sanctify my great name, hamuchulal bagoyim. How come he keeps repeating that? It's frightening. Verse 23, V'kidashti ashmi hagodol, I will sanctify my great name, hamuchulal bagoyim, that was desecrated among the goyim, asher chilaltem, that you desecrated my holy name. How? B'tocham. How did you desecrate my holy name, Elisheva? How? Not you, because you live here, Baruch Hashem. B'tocham, the very fact that you didn't live in Chutz La'aretz, God says that's a desecration of my name, and he keeps repeating it over and over again. V'yodu hagoyim, and the nations will know, ki ani Hashem, that I am God, Num Hashem Elokim, says the Lord God, B'kotshi b'chem leineim, when I will sanctify you in front of their eyes. How will I do that? How will I do that? Now please go to your papers, it's much clearer. Pasuk Chav Dalid. Everyone have a paper?
I don't.
You don't have a paper? Oh, now you do, right? Oh, what kasha. Now you have to go to the paper. So I made it very large because you're not going to believe what it says here. Speak about current events, Avi. See Pasuk Chav Dalid? Pasuk Chav Dalid, Avi. You with me or against me?
With you.
V'lakachti eschem min hagoyim, and I will take you out from the goyim, even Borough Park. Pasuk Chav Dalid. V'kibatzti eschem. The word kibbutz, what does that mean? I will gather you mikol haratzos, from all of the lands, v'yevesi eschem el admaschem, and I will what? Bring you back to your land. Look at footnote Chav Dalid, Yehuda. You see that? Footnote Chav Dalid, it's highlighted in yellow. V'lakachti eschem min ha'amim. You see that? Biyad Rama Bal Karcham, I'll take you out from the nations with a high hand against your will. Even if you don't want to come.
There you go.
You'll have a president like the abomination or the witch Hillary, and it'll force you to come. Bal Karcham. Bal Karcham. Right? God is orchestrating the worldwide madness in order to get the Yidden to what? Come on home. Pasuk Chav Hei. And this ties in with the Parah Duma. Avram, the Parsha we read is the Parah Duma, with spritzing waters of purification, the red cow ashes. And here Yecheskel picks up the theme. You see Pasuk Chav Hei? V'zarakti aleichem mayim tahorim, and I will what? Sprinkle on you. And I will sprinkle on you what? Holy, pure water. Utahartem mikol tumaseichem, and I will cleanse you from all of your defilement. Mikol guleichem, from all of your schmutz. Atayir eschem, I will what? Purify you. Yiddish?
Korsberg used to say they made made with holy water too.
What, holy water? What?
Avian.
So who is that? That's God speaking. In the Parsha, the Kohen spritzes us with holy waters to purify us from Tumah. In the Haftorah that speaks about the third temple, God says, I will spritz on you waters of purification and cleanse you from all of your tumah, from your averot. Now, is that real or is it a mashal? It's a mashal, I think, right? Right? That God will cleanse us from our sins. Tumah, defilement, is sin. Now, Pasuk Chavav is unbelievable. Look at Pasuk Chavav. Yehuda, you with me? Chavav. V'nasati lachem lev chadash. I'm going to give you a new heart. You gotta have heart. Lots and lots of heart. Pasuk Chavav. V'nosati lechem leiv chadash. And I'm going to give you a new heart. What does that mean? A heart transplant? V'nosati, but in Hebrew, the vav in biblical Hebrew means I will give you, right? Yehuda, right? V'nosati lechem. And I will give you, this is speaking in the Messianic era, when God will remove the evil impulse from us. It'll be as if he gave us what? A new heart. Doesn't mean a heart transplant, but it's a metaphor. And I will give you a new heart. I will remove the Yetzer Hara from you. And a new spirit, eten bikir bechem, I will place in your kishkis.
Lev is male, and that's why it's Hadush.
Right.
Ruach is female, so it's Hadush.
V'hasirosi as lev even mipsarchem, and I'm going to remove the heart of stone from your flesh. What does that mean, the heart of stone from your flesh? Current events, Yoel. The cold, cruel chief of staff and defense minister putting this hero soldier in jail. Isn't that Levo Evan? Isn't that a cold, cruel heart?
Yeah.
Putting this Chayal who saves lives,
That's right.
putting him in jail instead of giving him a medal?
Our children.
Who is he protecting?
They're demoralizing the entire army.
Exactly. But God says, I will remove the Lev Evan, the cold, cruel stone heart, and let you see the light, to let the Chayal go. V'nasati lechem lev basar, and I'm going to give you what? A heart of what? A flesh. Remove the blinders. Remove the blinders. Can't we, don't we know the difference between what? The good guys and the bad guys. We don't know the difference between the good guys and the bad guys. We don't know the difference. Aviva, who are the good guys and the bad guys? Our prime minister's all mixed up. I'm all shook up.
They're all mixed up.
What? Hard to understand, right? Yes,
These psukim we say in Ne'ilah, if I'm not mistaken.
that's correct. But it's taken from this week's Haftorah. From this week's Haftorah, it's taken. So let's get back to the Haftorah in the Chumash, because I didn't make further copies, but you have it in your Chumash. You have it in your Chumash. Let's get back to the Haftorah, verse 27, Mickey. Vesru, back in the Chumash. If you're back in the stone Chumash or in the Birnbaum, verse 27. Vesruchi etein bikir bechem. Yiddish Elisheva. And my spirit, says God. God is a talker here. And my spirit I will place in your midst. Vasiti, and I will do es ashe b'chukai. Telechu mishpatai tishmu vasitem. You're going to walk in my ways and do my mitzvot. The blinders will come off and will see the truth. You'll do my chukim. Chukim means laws between what? Man and God. Umishpatai means laws between man and man. Tishmaru, you will observe them. Vasitem, and you will what? Do them. Pasuk 28. You have that? 28. V'yishaftem ba'aretz. You're not going to live in Borough Park anymore. What a prophecy. It's a prophecy of the third temple. Chavches, v'yishaftem ba'aretz, and you will live in the land. Verse 28. Asher nasati, that I have given la'avotechem, to your forefathers. V'yiti li la'am, v'yitem li la'am, and you shall be for me for a people. V'anoichi, and I, God, e'elechem le'elohim, will be for you what? For a God. Yiddish? And Pasuk 29, Vashati eschem ekol tu masechem, I will save you from all of your defilements. V'karati ala dagan, and I'm going to call the dagan. What does dagan mean? The grain. Verbesi oisai, there's going to be an economic boom. No more will people be in poverty. You hear this?
Yes.
This is speaking the Messianic era, verse 30. Verse 30 here, Beisi, and I will increase as pri haaretz, u'tenuva haaretz, laman asher lo tikchu od cherpas ra bagoyim. You'll no longer have to need American aid. You won't need aid from the countries anymore. We'll be self-sufficient. Verse 30, Aviva, isn't that incredible? Verse 30, we're not going to have to hold our hat in the hand and beg Obama for donations. And he'll squeeze us.
Bad Muslim.
Isn't that incredible? Nechama, current events, right? We'll get our pride back, our self-dignity, instead of begging America for more aid, a bigger aid package. God said you'll be self-sufficient. You hear this? Now, why will I do that? Verse 32. Look at verse 32. Lo lemanchem ani oseh. You have that, Maddie? Verse 32. I'm not going to do it for your sake, God says, because you're never going to get it. Num Hashem Elokim. Yevod alachem, you should know, bo shuv yikolmu. Be ashamed and humiliated how you treat that soldier.
That's right.
Isn't that incredible? Verse 32. He boshuv yikolmu. How do they translate in English, Yehuda? Verse 32.
Not for your sake do I act the words of my Lord, Hashem Elohim. Let it be known to you. Be ashamed and humiliated because of your ways.
Be ashamed and humiliated of your ways, house of Israel. For shame on you, how you treat this chayal, Chanoch.
That's right.
Instead of giving him a medal for saving lives, they throw him in jail. Be ashamed, says God. 2,400 years ago, current events in the Haftorah. It's just amazing. So this prophecy says that I'm going to save you, rescue you, in spite of yourselves.
Yeah.
Because we're too big to fail.
That's
Unlike Lehman Brothers, we're too big to fail. Because God is very heavily invested in us. Right? Right? He's all right. We're all right. We're in the same boat. God must protect his investment.
Yeah.
He can't allow us to go belly up.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
That's what he says here in verse 32, doesn't he?
Yes.
Right? Not for your sake will I save you, but I'll save you to protect my holy name. God can't afford for us to do a Lehman Brothers. Remember them?
Yeah, we do.
Belly up. Now, why do we read this Haftorah right before Pesach, Abraham? Because Pesach celebrates not only our past Geula in Mitzrayim, but also our future Geula also. And Yecheskel 36 speaks about what? The future Geula. So therefore, we read this right before Pesach. Pesach celebrates not only the first Geula, Mitzrayim, but our future Geula as well. Okay? And therefore, this Haftorah is very matim for Pesach. And that's why Pesach is the only 2-day yontiv in the Torah. There was no other 2-day yontiv in the Torah. Why? So the Baal Shem Tov explains, one of the Ani Mamins is to believe in the becoming of the Mashiach. To Ikra Yahadut Avraham, the last time I checked, I don't see anywhere in the Torah the belief in coming in Mashiach as a mitzvah. And yet the Rambam said the Ikra of Judaism. Where is it found? So the Baal Shem Tov says, the first day of Pesach we celebrate to commemorate the redemption from Egypt. The last day of Pesach we commemorate the belief in the final redemption.
Wow, wow.
So therefore Pesach is the only 2-day yontif in the Torah. There is no other 2-day yontif in the Torah Pesach. Says the Baal Shem Tov, because the first day of Pesach we commemorate the first redemption from Egypt. And the last day of Pesach, on Imam and B'munah Shalema, that just like God redeemed us from Egypt through Moses, God will redeem us from the final exile through Moshiach. And therefore the Baal Shem Tov came up with a Sudas Mashiach. When? Shvi Shal Pesach. Because the exodus from Egypt is a roadmap to Mashiach. The long and winding road. That's the connection to Pesach, to Yecheskel. Yetzias Mitzrayim was the first Geula, but it only began. It won't end until Ezekiel 36. That's the final Geula. We're on the long and winding road. In fact, the Zohar says, Avi, that the exodus from Egypt was the road map, not the road trap. The road map to the final Geula. So therefore, Pesach, the first day we commemorate the Yetzias Mitzrayim, and the last day of Pesach, says the Baal Shem Tov, that's our belief in Ani Maamin, that just like God redeemed us once from Egypt, He'll redeem us again through Mashiach. So by observing the last day of Pesach and having Sudas Mashiach, you reaffirm your belief in what? In the coming of the Mashiach. So the next time someone asks you, where is the belief in Mashiach written in the Torah? It's an ikar of Judaism. Where's it written in the Torah? The last day of Pesach. Observing the last day of Pesach, says the Baal Shem Tov, reaffirms my belief in what? In the coming of Mashiach. And that's the ikar of Judaism. But now, another question. Another ikar of Judaism is to believe in Tchiyat HaMeitim. Ani Maamin in Tchiyat HaMeitim. The last time I checked, Chanoch, where is the belief in Tchiyat HaMeitim in the Torah? The last time I checked, where is the belief in Tchiyat HaMeitim in the Torah? You know where it is? Parshas Parah. Parshas Parah, the Mafti we're going to read this Shabbos, Avram. The Mafti we're going to read this Shabbos. Bamidbar 19. If you turn to Bamidbar 19, verse 1, the Maftir, by reading Parshas Chukas, we reaffirm our belief in what? In the resurrection of the dead. I'll wait. Bamidbar 19, Pasuk 1 and 2. That's the Maftir, therefore this Shabbos is called what? Parshas Parah, Bamidbar 19, verse 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, the Shulchan Aruch paskins that hearing Parshas Parah this Shabbos is a mitzvah from the Torah. All men and women have to come to shul this...
245.
Page 245. All men and women must come to hear Parshas Parah. It's a mitzvah in the Torah, which is very strange. To read the Torah on Shabbos and Monday and Thursday is only a rabbinic enactment. And yet the Shulchan Aruch tells us that hearing Parshas Parah is not like hearing the rest of the Torah. That's rabbinic. But hearing Parshas Parah is a mitzvah from the Torah. The question is why, Masha? You didn't know that. Men and women. Question is why? I'm about to show you, because somehow by reading Parshas Parah, we reaffirm our belief in what? In the resurrection of the dead. So if someone's going to ask you, Nechama, where is the mitzvah of Mashiach found in the Torah? You'll tell him you'll tell him the last week of Pesach, the last day of Pesach. You didn't know that. Pesach, the only 2-day yontiv. The first day we commemorate the exodus from Egypt, and the last day we commemorate what? The final redemption through Mashiach. So that's Shvi Shal Pesach, that's the belief in Mashiach.
Right.
You didn't know that?
Yes.
Now you do. Now where is Tchiyat HaMeisim found in the Torah? The Rambam says if you don't believe in Tchiyat HaMeisim, you're a heretic. You're not even considered a what? A loyal Jew. So where is the resurrection of the dead found in the Torah? I'm about to show you that by reading Parshas Parah, Ani Maamin Be'emunah Shalema, in what? Tchiyat HaMeitim. And therefore the Shulchan Aruch says that reading Parshas Parah, Avram, is what? A mitzvah from the Torah. Because one of the ikars of Yahadut in the Torah is to believe in the resurrection of the dead. But when I checked, I don't see it. I'm about to show it to you, Mickey. In Bamidbar 19, if you read it carefully, you'll see that somehow that reaffirms my belief in what? In the resurrection of the dead. Let's do some exploring, okay? Now, somehow, by sprinkling the ashes of the red cow, not the mad cow, you remove the stigma of death. Person comes in contact with a dead human, he becomes depressed, he becomes tamei. Somehow, the ashes of the red cow is an antidote for the stigma and the tumor of death. Why? I'll tell you why. Because I'll show you that the red cow teaches the principle that death is not final. It's only temporary. There's no need to be depressed. Fasten your seatbelts, Nechama. Let's take a look over here. Now, the ceremony of the Parah Duma, you have to burn the red cow. See, Bamidbar 19, Pasuk 5, Yoel, right? You burn the red cow, right? Then verse 6, in the belly of the burning beast, you throw a twig of cedar, some hyssop grass, and a red thread dyed with the blood of a caterpillar. Sounds bizarre.
Wow.
Wee. Sounds like voodoo.
It does.
What's going on, Abraham? What's going on? Verse 6. The Kohen, in the belly of the burning beast, when the belly bursts from the heat, you throw a twig of a cedar, some type of grass, not the type you smoke, right? Yeah. And a red thread dyed with the blood of what? Of a caterpillar. What's it all about over here? Very strange. Stay tuned. Don't fall asleep now. Now, so after the animal is burned, it's turned into ashes. Fast forward to verse 17. Fast forward to verse 17, and you know what I mean. Verse 17. What do? You collect the ashes. Verse 17. Anybody want to read it?
You should take for the contaminated person some of the ashes of the burning of the purification animal and put it upon spring water.
No, it says Mayim Chayim. I'll read it in Hebrew. Let's get real.
Translation is spring water.
Buddy, let's get real. Pasuk 17. V'lakhu latamei. They shall take for the depressed person. He came in contact with a dead person. Tamei means he's depressed. He sees a dead body. I'm going to wind up like that. It's all over. What am I living for? Who cares what I do? In the long run, we're all dead. That's tamei. It's depressing to be in contact with a dead guy. It contaminates me. I'm depressed. What's the antidote, Nechama? The red cow. Please hear me carefully. If you came from Budapest just to hear this. Verse 17. They shall take for the defiled, depressed person who's in contact with a dead person. Me'afar sreifas achatas. From the ashes of the burned cow. V'nosan olav mayim chayim. And mix the ashes of the red cow with mayim chayim. What does that mean? You know Hebrew.
I know.
What does mayim chayim mean?
Water.
Living water. I never met dead water, Avi. Did you ever meet dead water? Elisheva, what do I have to change the text for? What does the English say?
It says spring water.
17, brand new art scroll. Spring water. But my book says mayim chayim. Mayim chayim means living water.
We don't have an expression.
I never met dead water, did you?
That's why they make it spring water.
Nechama, fasten your seatbelts. Do you turn the red cow into ashes? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. The red cow ashes is a symbol of death. Mayim chayim is a symbol of life. The baby is born in an embryonic sac full of water. The red cow represents, the ashes represent ashes to ashes, death. Mayim chayim represents what? Life. Living waters, because mayim is a symbol of what? Of life. The baby is born in a sack full of water. Okay? Let's start over here. And then what do you do in verse 18? Verse 18, you take some hyssop grass and you dip it in the mixture and you spritz on somebody. Now, what's it all about? Let's start again. Conception, birth, the fetus is contained in water. That's Mayim Chayim, is a symbol of life. Ashes, the red cow is turned into ashes. That's a symbol of what? Of death. The Sheni Toilas, you have to throw in the belly of the beast, Nechama, a roite bendel. Where do you get the roite bendel from? A thread of wool dyed with the blood of a caterpillar.
I love that.
A caterpillar.
This is crazy.
Right? Why is that? Why is that? Because there's a verse in Isaiah 41. Isaiah 41, God says, Al tiri toilat Yaakov. Don't be afraid, you caterpillar, Yaakov.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I don't know, caterpillar, the Russian bear, the American eagle. Why does God tell Isaiah 41 that the Jewish people are compared to a caterpillar? Metei Yisrael, you that die in Israel, don't be afraid. You are compared to the caterpillar. The caterpillar crawls into a cocoon. The cocoon is actually what? A grave. And what does the caterpillar do in there? It decomposes. And when the time comes, out comes a beautiful butterfly.
Wow, wow. That's us.
What is its purpose?
1 minute, Chanoch, please. Therefore, God tells Isaiah 41, don't be afraid, you caterpillar, Yaakov, not a Russian bear, the American eagle. You are compared to a caterpillar, you that die in Israel. Ani azartich, I will help you. Death is not forever. You don't believe me, says God? Look at the toilat. Toilat means a caterpillar. He crawls into a cocoon. You took Science 101, it's a grave. And he decomposes in there. It looks like it's all over. But when the time comes, out of the grave, I mean the cocoon, rises a beautiful butterfly.
That's right.
That is the metaphor for Tchiat HaMesim. You think Tchiat HaMesim is too fantastic? Look at the caterpillar, the cocoon, and the butterfly. Therefore, in the belly of the burning beast, you throw a bendel dyed with the blood of what? Caterpillar. Death, there's no need to be depressed from death. It's not final. You don't believe it? Look at the caterpillar, Avi, and the cocoon and the butterfly. Wow. So let's go step by step. Mayim Chayim, in verse 17, represents what? Birth, conception, birth. Because the baby is born in a sack of water. The red cow becomes ashes. It's a symbol of what? Death. But death is not final. You don't believe it? God says, look at the toilat that you're going to throw in the belly of the beast. The toilas is a symbol of resurrection. What else do you throw in the belly of the beast? Grass. Not the type you smoke.
That might help for this guy.
What? Now, why grass?
Definitely.
Fasten your seatbelt, Elisheva, for this one. If you don't, you'll fall off your chair. There's a pasuk in Tehillim 72. In Tehillim 72, King David says that the dead will sprout out of the ground, ke'esef ha'aretz. When the time comes and Mashiach comes, the dead will sprout out of the ground like hyssop grass.
Wow.
So don't you see? The red cow teaches me about ashes to ashes, dust, mayim chayim, there's birth, mayim chayim, there's death, but death is not final. Look at the toilas, look at the grass. Believing in Tchiat HaMesim removes the stigma of death. So by doing the Parah Duma or learning about it, what do we do? On Imam and B'Emunah Shalema, there's no reason to be depressed from death. It's only a temporary stage.
That's it.
You don't believe me? Look at the toilet. Look at the butterfly. Sting like a bee, a butterfly. The worm decomposes. That's only a metaphor for the body that decomposes from the grave, and when the time comes, she'll rise up like a butterfly or like grass out of the ground. Tehillim 72, Isaiah 41. It all comes together in the ceremony of what? Not the mad cow, the red cow. It's not voodoo. No. We need to focus. Resurrection of the dead, Nechama, is something so far removed from me. By studying the Parsha, if we can't do it, at least we study it. It inculcates, I like the word, it inculcates into me the belief I don't need to be depressed around death. It's only a temporary stage.
Good. That's good.
Helps me focus. So I'm giving you a big chiddush, Avram. Why the Shulchan Aruch paskins that reading Parshas Parah this week is a mitzvah min Torah? Because all the other Torah readings, besides Zohar, is only the Rabbanan. Because Parshas Parah reaffirms my belief in the resurrection of the dead, which is a principle of the Torah.
Wow.
Ani Mamin.
That's right.
But it's so far removed from me. How do I make it real? Study about it. Know what? It's not voodoo. Chas v'shalom. Wow. And therefore, there's halach in Shulchan Aruch Yeridea, chapter 376. You can look it up. Yeridea, Siman Shin Ayin Vav, chapter 376. That lo yaleinu, when a person comes from a funeral, as he leaves the cemetery, he has to do three things. He has to take a handful of dirt, put it on the grave. He has to pluck some grass, and he has to what? Wash his hands. Why do you do those three things? You're play acting the Parah Duma. Halacha Yeridea Shin Ayin Vav. Doctor, you can look it up. Come from lo yaleinu, from a funeral, you take a handful of dirt, you put it on the grave, you pluck some grass, you put it on the grave, and then you wash your hands. So the Kabbalah teaches, you're acting out what? Tchiyat HaMesim, because the dirt represents what? Ashes to ashes, the body turns to dirt. That's the red cow ashes. You think it's finished? No, you pluck some grass. Psalm 72 says that the dead will rise out of the ground like grass.
Right.
And then you wash your hands. That's what? The Mayim Chayim. You mix the dead ashes with living water. So when you're coming from a funeral, lo yaleinu, you're play acting the red cow. You're reinforcing your belief, Avi. Ani Mamin in Tchiyat HaMeitim, which is the ikar of Judaism. Where is it found in the Torah? Last time I checked, people say, duh. It's Bamidbar 19. When you read this Parsha, this Shabbos, you are fulfilling the Ani Mamin. You wouldn't notice in Budapest. Good thing you came. You came just in time. Just in time.
This connects the next
You hear what I'm talking? Let me get the punches, gewaldig. People don't know what's going on over here. People just don't know. So you can't do it today. At least you read about it. We inculcate into us the amunah that death is only temporary. It's not final. There's no reason to be tumah. What is tumah? Depressed. So the red cow ashes, Nechama, removes the stigma and depression of death by teaching me that death is only temporary. Only the body decomposes. The soul, I'm a soul man. The soul moves higher and higher. But I can't relate to it. Read the Parsha, you relate to it. Comes alive, get it? Alive.
This connects the next week Parsha, which is about birth.
Oh, don't, that's right. Next week's Parsha is about birth, right? Right?
All together, no accident.
So the Parah Duma is very strange. Very strange. Rashi says we really don't know the reason. I gave you the reason, But why will there be resurrection of the dead? Right? It seems to go against nature. But it's built into the butterfly and the cocoon and the caterpillar. But the nations of the world taunt us. It looks like you're doing voodoo. What's it all about? I just don't know. Right? I just don't know. It's bizarre. The ashes purify and defile simultaneously, Avi. The ashes purify the pilgrim and defile the Kohen. They'll make no sense. Death makes no sense. Death makes no sense. One minute you have a living, breathing, shining human being, and the next minute you have a dead body laying there. It's totally paradoxical. It makes no sense. Like the red cow ashes, purifying and defiling simultaneously.
Wow.
It's the mystery of death, the great mystery. But we have the Haftorah that there'll be Tchiat HaMesim. Isaiah 41, Tehillim 72. This week's Haftorah, Ezekiel 36.
Yeah.
Now, but we don't know why we have to die. Why do we have to die? Why, oh why did he die? Why? We don't know. Reminds me of a story. Now, all my stories are true, but some didn't happen yet. You know, in the Middle Ages, there used to be Jews who left their religion, you know, apostates, and they loved to debate Jews. Yiddish Nechama. Pablo Cristiani and many like that. They became renegades, and they became monks, the most rabid anti-Semites, Shoshana Bawat, self-hating Jews, Lebech like today. So this Mishumah Jew became a bishop.
No.
Bishop. And he comes to the town and he says to the mayor of this Jewish town, he says, I challenge you to a contest in Hebrew. He knew perfect Hebrew because he was what? A learned Jew, a Jewish Jew, right? He says, you have to provide a debating partner for me in Hebrew. If not, I'm going to wipe out the whole town. Right? You have to give me an opponent to compete with me in Hebrew. Now, if the person doesn't know the answer, he came with a Swiss guard from the Vatican, with a Swiss guard with a big sword. Whoever doesn't know the answer, right off with his head. No questions asked.
Off with his head.
Off with his head, okay? Now, uproar in the town. Nobody was afraid. This guy knew Hebrew perfectly, this Mishumat bishop. Everyone was afraid to debate him because if, you know, he would answer, they wouldn't. The guy would lose his head, literally. But if they don't debate him, the whole town will be a pogrom. So everybody was panicking. Nobody wanted to debate him. This one ignorant shoemaker volunteered to debate this great bishop priest, Yedis Aviva. People were astounded. This ignorant shoemaker barely knew how to read Hebrew. You're going to debate the bishop, but nobody else was willing to, so what do we got to lose? No, right? He debated him. So they come into the town square, the bishop with the Swiss guard, Avram with the sword, anyone who doesn't know, and this ignorant shoemaker, Yankel Shmerel. So the priest says, listen, you ignorant shoemaker, you go first. Ask me a question on a Hebrew phrase, and if I don't know, and if you don't know the answer,
Off with your head.
off, right? The Swiss guard is standing there, right? So the ignorant shoemaker says, okay, great priest, what does it mean, ani lo yodea? What does it mean, ani lo yodea? So the bishop said, I don't know. So the Swiss guard, I don't know. So they celebrate, they take this ignorant shoemaker, they put him on the shoulders, and they're dancing with him, and they bring him to the rabbi. The rabbi said, Yankel Shmerel, you're a genius. You're a genius, Yankel Shmerel, you barely know Ivra. How could you ask such a trick question? He says, listen, when I was in Cheder, I asked my Rebbe what Ani Lo Yedeya means. My Rebbe says, I don't know. If my Rebbe doesn't know, this guy is going to know. Get it, Chanach? If my Rebbe doesn't know what Ani Lo Yedeya means, he's going to know what Ani Lo Yedeya means?
Open 101. I don't know.
Don't say that in front of the Swiss Guard.
Off with your head.
It's a true story. Jews are very smart.
Is it really a true story?
I hope so. I don't know. Well, now it's true. What? 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 But anyway, so.
Can we talk about the smokable grass now?
The smokable grass. No. Well, it's not a joke. Not a joke. One of the 11 herbs and spices in the Ketoret was the chelbana.
Yeah.
It says of Aryeh Kaplan in the Living Torah, the chelbana was marijuana. I think it's called cannabis today.
Very good. Really.
So Kahanim are always very mellow.
Yeah.
They call me mellow yellow. Not a joke. Twice a day they burned that stuff and they inhaled it in the morning and the afternoon. So they were always very mellow. You look at Aryeh Kaplan's Living Torah. He says the chelbana, one of the 11 herbs and spices, not KFC, one of the 11 herbs and spices in the Torah was chelbana, which was marijuana. It made them very mellow because they were very excitable. Yeah, go ahead, Bertie.
And that can be bad.
Right? Yes?
Is that why Israel is the biggest producer of medical marijuana?
Maybe, could be. That's right. We're getting ready for the Ketoret. Chanoch, we're getting ready for the Ketoret. Right? We need a lot of marijuana because twice a day, including Shabbos, they burn that stuff in the morning and the afternoon.
They send it to...
And the Gemara in Yuma says, Avi, there was a heavy cloud of incense over the whole city of Jerusalem. That means the city was like mellow yellow, not just the Kohanim. Yiddish Maddie.
See?
The whole city was mellow. Huh?
That's good.
So they're going to have to make it legal. Before the Messiah comes, Chanoch, they're going to have to legalize marijuana. It's not a joke.
Amen.
We don't want the Kohanim to be arrested.
They're working on it.
They're working on it. You see that? To make it,
David's business is
what? To make it.
They're acting like
We said today.
It is a good thing.
Now, the Mishnah Masechta Parah says as follows. One of the 63 tractates in Shas Avram is called Tractate Cow. Masechta Parah. All these laws, very complex laws. The Mishnah chapter 3 says there were 9 red cows. From Moses until Chorban Bayis Sheni, there were 9 red cows.
Wow.
The first one was made by Holy Moses in Bamidbar 19. The second one was made by Ezra at the beginning of the Second Temple. And there were 7 from Ezra's time until Chorban Bayis Sheni. Who's going to make the 10th one? Melech HaMashiach. Who's going to make the 10th one? The Melech HaMashiach. And who's going to spritz it on us? Who's going to spritz it on us? No, look at your sheets, Chaf Dalid. Who's going to spritz it on us? So the 10th one will be prepared by the King Messiah. The 10th one. But who's going to sprinkle on us? Mickey, Pasik Chaf Hey. Please take a look at your sheets, Avram. Pasik Chaf Hey. You see there's a check there, I think, no? V'zarakti aleichem. God says, I will sprinkle on you mayim tahorim. I'm going to purify you, utahartem, and I will cleanse you, mikol tumoseichem, from all of your filth and contamination, mikol gulechem, from all of your schmutz on the internet. Atayir eschem, I will what? Cleanse and purify you. Wow, so God himself, is it a metaphor or it will actually happen? Stay tuned. We know prophets speak in metaphors, buddy. But that's what God is saying, that I will spritz on you. Maybe he means my agent, the Cohen, because the Cohen acted as God's agent. We know a person's agent is like himself. So when God says, I'll do it, he can mean himself, but he can also mean what, doctor? He can mean his agent, who is what?
Yes.
The Kohanim. But what a beautiful prophecy that we have a glorious future in store for us.
Amen.
And God tells Isaiah 25, Bile hamoves lonetzach. When Mashiach comes, God will swallow up death forever. Isaiah 25, Nechama, verse 8. When Mashiach comes, God will swallow up death forever. We won't have to die anymore. We won't have to become a caterpillar and a butterfly. We'll remain a butterfly. We won't need that process of death anymore. We won't need it. Isaiah 25.
So what about this idea that every time there's death, there's a change in the relationship of material to space?
Go ahead.
So this is a continuing dynamic relationship.
Yes.
And that's a feature of existence. So when there's no more of that,
Right.
there's a static relationship between...
We'll have graduated.
Wow.
How is a dead person called in Hebrew, modern Hebrew? You know Hebrew, Yoel? Niftar. A dead person in modern Hebrew is called a niftar. The word niftar means, please release me, let me go. I'm not making this up. Ask any Ulpan teacher. The word niftar for a dead person literally means released. Because the neshama is no longer trapped in her bodysuit. Now she can soar and unite with the boss. Reunited, and it feels so good. Therefore, when a tzaddik dies, it's called Hilula. You know what a Hilula means? Masha, a wedding. The death of a tzaddik is called a wedding, because the neshama reunites with her source.
Wow.
Amazing how the Hebrew language is so rich. The word niftar in modern Hebrew, in biblical Hebrew, means death, but it doesn't really mean dead. Ask any teacher.
Right.
It means to be released. The soul is no longer trapped in her bodysuit.
Wow.
Don't confuse me with my bodysuit.
Yeah.
I'll prove it to you, Yoel. If you ask any person in the room, point to yourself. Point to yourself. Most people will point to their chest, their heart, right? But let's say you have a heart transplant. People living today with a heart transplant. So how can you point to your heart? It's not yours. I'm mixed up here. Most people will point to the heart, point to yourself. But if you have a heart transplant, thousands of people today are living with a heart transplant, how do you point to your heart?
Because once you get it, it's yours.
No, it's not yours, it's donated.
The mind has to train the heart.
No, the point is, I am not my bodysuit. You can't point to yourself because your real self is invisible. It's trapped inside.
Yeah.
Rabbi, what about the garments of the soul, thoughts,
Yeah.
speech, and action?
Well, the soul expresses itself through the body, right?
Thoughts,
But once the body is gone, the neshama exists. It is no longer. It's no longer limited and restricted. Now it's what? Grooving with the boss.
Yeah.
But when the end of time, God will take the neshama and what? Reunite it with the reconstituted dead body.
Wow.
If you don't believe it, look at the caterpillar, the cocoon, and the butterfly. Tchiat HaMesim is built into nature. If God will do that for a caterpillar, He won't do it for a human being, Avi. Get real. Therefore, Isaiah 41 and Psalm 22 calls the Jewish people
A worm.
a caterpillar. Not a worm, it's a caterpillar. You have to know Ulpan 103.
Wow.
Psalm 22 and Isaiah 41 calls the Jewish people not a bear or an eagle, a caterpillar. Because that's the secret of Tchiat HaMeitim. So we don't need to be depressed when we come in contact with death.
Psalm 72.
which body is...
Don't mix me up. Psalm 22 and Isaiah 41 both call the Jewish people toilat, which in Hebrew means a caterpillar.
Okay, 22.
Psalm 22 and Isaiah 41. Okay? And here in the Parsha, by Midbar 19, you have a caterpillar. All of a sudden, by Midbar 19, Pasuk 6, the Kohen shall take a thread dyed with the blood of a caterpillar and throw it into the belly of the red cow. It helps me, inculcates into me the belief in what? In the resurrection of the dead. Thank you very much.
Wow, Rabbi.
Toda Rabah.